Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Hidden Upgrade Weekly Update. Got a lot of exciting stuff to get into this week, including an exciting Coach's Corner with Coach Daniel Sleeper, along with a lot of the other exciting action that happened last week. We're going to get straight into it, and we're actually going to get started with our Coach's Corner. Like I said, is going to be Coach Daniel Sleeper. So thank you again, Coach, for doing this for us. And I'm going to send it off to the incredible, the absolutely amazing past Matt with this amazing Coach's Corner update. Matt, go ahead and take it away. Thank you, future Matt, for that incredible introduction, and welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Coach's Corner. This week we have the honor of chatting with Coach Daniel Sleeper from the California Golden Bears. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you very much for having me. I greatly appreciate the honor of being on the show.
Of course, it's an honor to have you, Coach. You've become quite the journeyman through your first 4 years as a coach. You started at Texas State, went to UCLA for a year, and now you've been at Cal for the last 2 years. First off, can you speak to why you moved around so much early in your career, and secondly, do you feel like you found your true home in Cal?
That's a great question starting off. I definitely feel like I have found a settlement, found a home here in the state of California at the Cal Bears. I'm forever grateful for the Texas State Bobcats and starting off my young coaching career there. Everyone loves football in Texas, and the atmosphere was absolutely electric, and I loved what I did in the single season there. Made it to a bowl game, got a critical bowl win. And then making the move to the great state of California in Los Angeles, where the marketing department is just booming nonstop. And UCLA we didn't have the season that I particularly wanted, but like I said, we were able to get a bowl win there. And I just felt like making the next coaching move. I understand staying in the state of California, just going a little couple hours north. But something gravitated me towards the Cal Bears, and I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to stay as well, as long as they'll have me.
So, Coach, while you've been at Cal, you have a 14-5 record so far. You got one bowl victory. You did have two players that went into the draft, which is big. The big kicker, though, is that you haven't made the college football playoff yet in your career. So you barely missed out in your 1 year with UCLA, and then you again barely missed out in your last year and your first season with Cal. So all in all, are you happy with your performance as a coach thus far?
Right now, particularly, I am happy and more satisfied than I am happy. Obviously, we want to go undefeated every single year, make it to the playoffs, try to fight for a national championship. That's always our goal. But with I'm 100% still learning on the go, with trying to make sure I have the right hires, right players in place. I was very happy with the season I had last year, coming off, like I said, the year I had with UCLA, going 7-6 to end the year, and then going 10-3 my first year at Cal, ending with a bowl victory. Obviously, we were right on the doorstep of a playoff spot, but Coach Rick Dalton and his strong two-lane program, man, he definitely has something going on down in Louisiana. And we ran into a better team and lost our way out of a playoff spot. But I'm very happy with how our season ended last year. I definitely want to continue to carry that momentum into this year. I know we have 2 early losses, but I like to. Our team likes to show us a lot of fight, and I feel like we're not out of it just yet.
I like that. So, speaking a little bit to that, I guess, you peaked at number 7 in the AP poll this year, and then you had a couple of tough losses like you just talked about. You had a very tough loss against a tough team in Florida, and then you had a surprising loss, a lot of people felt was surprising, to Kansas State, and you had quite the fall from grace, and you're now barely hanging on at that number 25 spot. You did get a convincing victory against an in-conference opponent in Kansas last week. How do you continue to build on that win and keep your guys from getting frustrated after those 2 early losses?
Well, another great question. I like how you did your research. Definitely do your homework on the show. We suffered a first loss of our season, early loss to Florida. You never want to lose conference games, whether they're early or late in the season, but we know Florida has a very strong program. Only lost that by 10. Kansas State, it just seemed like going in, I never felt right 100% about that game from the very beginning. I understand that you can never feel that way going into a game, but I felt like our offense just never had any fluidity. There was no flow. I know our defense tried to do everything possible to step up. Our special teams got us a touchdown. I believe we had a pick six in that game. I can't remember. But it just felt like there was no flow to the offense, and that's why going into the bye week, we really had to felt like we had to change our offensive philosophy. Um, Spreading the ball out, getting the ball out quicker to our athletic and strong receivers. We understand we have a great running back, and I felt like I was trying to lean into the run game a little bit too heavy and trying to commit to it way too early. So I felt like we needed to change our offensive philosophy. We have a talented quarterback who can strong arm, big guy who can get the ball in places, very well. So I definitely felt like we needed to play to his strength, play to our receiver's strength, while still being able to utilize our running back talent that we have.
So, Coach, you got a lot of flack during that Kansas State game for opting to run the ball instead of kneeling it to close out the game. What was the thought process at the end of that game for you?
That was 100% on me. I take full responsibility for that. I was hoping to maybe at least get a couple more yards, another first down to try to seal it for sure. It definitely wasn't no padding stats. I'm not. Yeah, it's just 100% on me. It was just trying to get another first down to for sure seal the game when I knew for a fact Kansas State was out of timeouts. I should have kneed it. Just told the quarterback to knee it, but it was just me making a bonehead coaching decision. And yeah, definitely learn from your mistakes, and that's one I definitely learned from for sure.
Yeah, a lot can be said. I mean, the one thing that cannot be said about you is that you don't learn from mistakes. So I do expect you to bounce back from that for sure. So you did mention your players a little bit. I did want to take a little bit of a deeper look into your current roster. So you got Mendoza and Matthews that are killing it at quarterback and the wide receiver position, and you have a stud at halfback in Priestley. These are your big weapons on offense. Do you have concerns about your team next year since Mendoza and Matthews are seniors and Priestley will likely be declaring for the draft?
Well, luckily with Priestley, I'm hoping we can get him for another year. I feel like he has some possible improvement to do, especially if he definitely wants to make a case for the draft. I feel like we can keep him, develop him for another year. We definitely have some leadership at receiver leaving, but I feel like we definitely have some young guys who I feel like can step up in a huge way. But it comes down to coaching and developing the best way possible. And I feel like we have a great staff, great group of guys that we have that is able to develop our talent very well and adapt them to what we like to run here at Cal.
I like that. So I do want to talk about your big matchup this week. You have a huge matchup against Coach Big Papa Jr., who is undefeated with his Wyoming squad. What are you doing to prepare for this matchup, and how do you like your chances?
I can definitely tell that it seems like Big Papa Jr. is following the footsteps of his father, Big Papa Sr. Was a tremendous coach in our great conference, great Big 12 conference, going undefeated in 2 seasons, 2 back-to-back national championships. I really do feel like Big Papa Jr. is following in his footsteps for sure. Wyoming is a strong, tough team. I've seen some of their matchups and watching film. I don't know of maybe any possible weakness. Coach Damon has his program booming right now. I like our chances, but I expect nothing less from Wyoming. I know we're going to get a good, tough matchup, but I just want to be physical, play strong, play fast.
So if you do end up losing to Wyoming, do you feel like there's any coming back for your team this season, or do you think 3 losses this early on would be too demoralizing?
I wouldn't necessarily say demoralizing, but I would think we possibly still have a shot if we do end up losing. Our next goal, not only just to try to make the playoff, would be, all right, let's go ahead and make it to a bowl game. Let's try to make this season impactful for our seniors and pretty much the rest of our program and the Cal community.
Okay, well, we're rooting for you over here at the weekly update in the commissioner's office. So we're rooting
Thank
for
you. I appreciate it.
Cal. You know, we're rooting for an upset to what many are considering an upset. You guys are the ranked team, but Wyoming has a lot of momentum. So we'll see how that goes. We try to stay unbiased here at the commissioner's office, but sometimes it's hard. So we're gonna end the interview with what we do with all of our interviews. We're actually dubbing it the "say it with your chest" portion of the interview. This is your opportunity to talk your shit. If you want to talk shit to the other coaches, to other teams, or if you just want to hype your own team up. I know a lot of people don't want to start shit, but if you want to hype your team up, you can do that. Basically, the floor is yours. Whatever you want to talk about, Coach, go for it.
Oh, hey, we're the Cal Bears. I understand we have 2 early losses, but we're coming, man. I feel like with our new philosophy and how we want to run things here, we're gonna try to play hard, play fast, and play strong. Most importantly, play smart. I first want to give a shout out to the Big 12 conference in general. I feel like no matter what, whether it's an unranked opponent or a ranked opponent, no matter top 25 or not, the Big 12 always brings it. No matter what, interconference or outer conference matchups, when they show up if they make bowl games. Huge shout out to the Big 12 conference, man. Best conference definitely in college football, with the representatives that we have. Where the season's not over. There's a lot of football left. Got a lot of great matchups left on our schedule, but don't try to sleep on us now. There's a lot of football left to be played. Anything can happen on any given Saturday.
I like it. Everybody needs to wake up, is what we're saying. Wake up and pay attention to the Big 12. I like it. So thank you so much, Coach, for your time. I'm going to go ahead and send it back now to future Matt for the rest of the weekly update, and good luck in your game this week, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Go Bears.
Thank you, past Matt and Coach Daniel Sleeper, again, for participating in the Coach's Corner. We truly do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get straight into the rest of the update here. So we're going to get started like we always do with last week's games. We're going to start out with a little Florida versus Cincinnati action, where we see Florida just, again, absolutely demolishing their competition, the Big 12 opponent in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, not that great of a team, and Florida taking advantage of that fact. We actually have a clip that was submitted here. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and see what happens here. Looks like we have a I formation, handoff to the running back. Just absolutely plows through one defender, absolutely plows through another defender. Wow, huge game there. That was an amazing play. Thank you, Coach Sam, for sending that one in. That was great. Send in more of those clips. Like we said, guys, we only got a couple clips this week, so continue to send those in if you can. I feel like we're saying this every time, but it doesn't have to be a game-changing monumental play. I want to have some clips in here, so send those in to me. Just a friendly reminder, if you're streaming on Twitch, you just got to go back and let me know what timestamps those plays happened in. It doesn't have to be the exact timestamp of the stream, but if you tell me 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the first quarter, I'll be able to go back and grab those clips for you. Well, I'll have somebody on my team do it for you. So again, please get those clips into me when you can. Moving on here, we just had a conversation with him. Coach Daniel Sleeper gets a big victory over Kansas, gets a little bit of his confidence back after losing a couple early games. Huge victory, 66-10 over Kansas. Then we got Kentucky losing a tough one against Arizona. Arizona continuing to be the team that plays upset to a lot of Big 12 teams that they just aren't expecting them to come out as strong as they do. So keep that in mind, people. When we're playing Arizona, we're taking them seriously. So just do not underestimate them. They can definitely surprise you. And Coach Joey learned that the hard way this week. Then we have Coach Eric, unfortunately missing yet another game. This time he got his parole hearing and his legal issues handled, but he had another bout with acute leprosy of the left pinky toe and was not able to make the game for fear of spreading leprosy to the other players and to the referees and the fans and all that kind of stuff. So best of wishes to Coach Eric and that leprosy. Hopefully he gets that under control soon and can get back out on the field. Coach Big Papa Jr. got brought up a little bit in the Coach's Corner update. He gets a very close win against Oklahoma State. I think that's the closest win of his career this season. Obviously, he's only played 5 or 6 games, but it's a close win. But a win nonetheless. A lot of people say it's only an inch or a mile. Doesn't really matter. A win's a win. But that's gotta shake the confidence a little bit. We'll see if he can bounce back and get a victory over Coach Daniel and Cal this week. And then we have the game of the week last week. Actually, let's talk about the other game before we get into the game of the week. So we had UConn versus LSU. LSU just absolutely demolishing UConn. Unfortunately, there was a blackout, and that game was not broadcast on TV, so we weren't able to see the absolute destruction. But I'm sure if you go to Pornhub, you can look up UConn getting fucked, and it will be there for you. So go ahead and check that out and see what happened in that game. And now we're going to get into the game of the week. Virginia Tech at Colorado. And as you can see, this was a high-scoring affair. And wow, 56 points combined score in the second quarter alone. I don't know what happened in that second quarter, but it was wild. So, yeah, huge game. Total offense was crazy. Colorado obviously getting the nod in a lot of categories here. Didn't quite have the rushing performance that Virginia Tech had, but they led a lot of the other categories that are important. More than doubled the first downs. Got over 100 more yards total offense, more passing yards, obviously. Third down conversions, they were more consistent on. Virginia Tech only got 1 third down conversion. You can't win many games when you get stats like that. Then you have the big ones. Virginia Tech continued to have the issues with the turnovers. They had 3 interceptions in this game to Colorado's 1. Colorado did have a fumble that they lost, but that didn't really result in any points, so it wasn't a huge deal. But they also won the time of possession battle. And as we know, time of possession is a big deal. And when you more than double the other team's time of possession, it's going to be hard for them to do much with that. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of clips from this game. And we're going to start out early in the first with Colorado having the ball down 7-0. No, they're high, but I don't think they're 97. Little throw to the receiver on the out there, and he just breaks away for a huge gain. They ended up going down the field and scoring after that big play. So tied up the ball game. Then we're going to move on to the second quarter, where we had Virginia Tech with the ball, them down by 7 now. See Robinson dropping back, rolling out to the right, actually telling his receiver to go out, throwing it to him over the top, and his receiver just does the rest. Fitzgerald just breaks a lot of ankles here, makes it all the way to the end zone for the touchdown. So that ties the ball game there. And then we had some controversy at the end of the first half. Let's take a look at this, and I'll let the clip sort of speak for itself as we watch this back. He dropped the ball. Did he not? What? Wait, what?
I don't know if it crossed the plane. That doesn't. I've never seen that in my life.
He dropped the ball. Did I challenge that? No, because he dropped that ball. What the fuck? Dude. Yeah, I don't know what was there. We try to remain impartial here at the commissioner's office, but that was a questionable call. And the coach had some things to say about it after the game, for sure. Understandably, actually. And I can go ahead and read the quote here. Can I actually read this on air? Are you sure I can read this on air? Okay. All right. I'm being told by my producers I can read this. So this is the coach Suburban Meyer after the game. He had this to say: "Listen, I'm not about to sit around and play nice guy like all these other Big 12 coaches. That ain't me, and I'm not going to mix words here when I say this. Coach Shane Falco is a pussy. He knows what he did. I saw him pre- and post-game chatting it up with the refs. We'll take that loss on the chin, but fuck Coach Shane Falco and fuck the refs. Send me my fine, and I'll pay it with my pocket change." Wow. Strong words there from Coach Suburban Meyer. Obviously very upset after that game. Yeah, hopefully his team can recover from this. That's a tough loss. 2 early losses in the season for Virginia Tech. Let's move on to this week's games. We have a couple of big ones. We got a big game between Coach Dusty and Coach Joey. UConn is traveling to Kentucky for a night game. That should be a good one. We have Florida traveling to Kansas State, where they're expected to demolish them. The spread right now on the game is plus 32. Is it really? It's plus 32 for Florida, or minus 32. I've never seen a spread that big before, so I'm kind of caught off guard. I apologize, guys. But yeah, Florida's expected to demolish Kansas State. Tulane is going to Arizona. Arizona, a team that just gave Kentucky a tough time, so hopefully Coach Rick Dalton takes them seriously and plays them hard and gets a victory there. Then we have Coach Shane Falco traveling to Northwestern for a battle with, I believe they're in the Big Ten, another big team. Hopefully they can get the victory there. Then we have LSU traveling to Wisconsin. We're hoping that Coach Eric recovers from his leprosy issue and can coach this game against Coach Steven. Good luck to both coaches in that one. And then we have the California and Wyoming. California, the big game that we talked about in the Coach's Corner. California at Wyoming, at Coach Big Papa Jr. That's going to be one to watch for sure. And then we have Cincinnati traveling into Virginia Tech. Cincinnati's had their issues all season long, but Virginia Tech is reeling after a couple of early losses, and clearly their coach is not in the right headspace right now. So there's no givens. Obviously, the spread shows that Virginia Tech is predicted to win, but you never know. You never know in this industry, I guess. So this week's game of the week is going to be Cowboys versus the Bears, everybody. I'm sure all of you expected that game is actually going to happen tonight. So February 20th at 10 p.m., give or take a couple minutes here or there. There's some weather things going on, so we never know exactly what's going to go on with that. But just keep an eye out for the Discord for when that game's actually going to take place. But be sure to tune in. It should be a good one. Then we're going to look at the Big 12 standings. Florida still on top with Colorado right there with them. Colorado, Wyoming, and Tulane all undefeated. But Florida gets a slight edge for being 4-0 in conference play already. Off to a huge start. Another couple big call-outs here. Cal is still in there. A couple early losses, but they're still in there. Virginia Tech, also a couple early losses, as well as Kentucky. Nobody's quite out of it yet, with the exception of maybe UConn, because damn, 1-3 in conference play already. It's tough to come back from, but you never know. The last couple of years, the Big 12 championship game has had a 3-loss team in it, so if they went out, they could still be in it. Let's look at the top 25 here. Tulane, number 2 in the nation. Florida, number 3 in the nation. We have a lot of representation in the top 5. LSU cracking the top 10. And then we got Colorado coming out of absolutely nowhere. I don't know if that's leftover prime effect or what's going on, but they had 0 votes for the AP poll and the coaches poll top 25, and all of a sudden they went from 0 votes to number 14. Something's going on there, but we don't like to speculate here at the commissioner's office. We'll just let that one go. Virginia Tech falls to number 17 after their loss to Colorado. And I think that's the last of the... California. Apologies. And this is a correction from the Coach's Corner. We called out that California was number 25. They're actually number 19 in the AP poll at the moment. Getting to the players of the week, and we're continuing the theme of whoever is playing against Coach Joey and his Kentucky offense gets the defensive player of the week. I believe this is the fourth week or third week that that's happened. This week it's Sterling Lane from Arizona with 13 tackles, 4 sacks. And then we have, yet again, Khalil Ingram from LSU. Another big game with almost 250 receptions, 250 yards receiving, and 4 receiving touchdowns. So shout out to him for getting his, I believe, third or fourth Player of the Week award, which will bring us into the Heisman Trophy race. Surprisingly, he is not on there, but his teammate Caden Durham is on there still. Had a relatively good game, a great game from a rushing touchdown perspective. 3 touchdowns there, 16 carries, 87 yards. Moves up to the second position, and that is the only representative for the Big 12 in the Heisman race at the current moment. We'll move into the offense, and Coach Dusty UConn still on top just by virtue of the amount of games that they have played. They have yet to have a bye week, but they still are on top ahead of Colorado. Colorado is closing that gap, though, with LSU not too far behind. We'll move into defense here. Defense, Florida, seemingly having it all, having a great offense and a great defense. Only a 1,040 yards allowed total offense against them, with Wyoming and Tulane falling up in the second and the third position. Virginia Tech takes quite the fall off here. I believe they were top 5 last week, and now they're falling all the way down out of the top 10 in total defense after just allowing Colorado to just go off on them last week. Then we'll look at the red zone efficiency. Cincinnati, despite not having the best record, has the best efficiency in the red zone in terms of scoring percentage. Florida is number 2, Kentucky number 3, Tulane number 4. So pretty good numbers across the board. You probably want to be at least above 50%. So shout out to the 6 teams on this list that are above 50%. Keep that up going forward. And then we'll look at the recruiting class. Tulane's still on top, but we do want to call out that Florida has 2 5-star recruits now, a defensive tackle and a right outside linebacker. They are closing the gap with Tulane and getting some big recruits to commit already. So shout out to all the teams that are on this list. If you do not have a recruit yet, do not worry. We're still early in the season, and sometimes kids take a while to make a decision. That's just how it goes. But that is it for the weekly update. I appreciate you guys so much, as always, for watching. Thank you for liking, following, subscribing, commenting, all that jazz. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day and an even better tomorrow. Thanks, guys.